Whatever it is you want, this is not the way to get it.
Take a fucking seat. Right there. Sit the fuck down. Bet you've never seen your desk from that angle before.
I don't know who it is you think I am, but... You know, whatever it is you want, this isn't going to accomplish anything.
Did I tell you to speak? You want to know the difference between a banker and a gangster? A gangster always has a getaway plan.
Okay.
And by the way, I know exactly who you are. You're the guy that fucks everyday people in the ass so you can float around in your yacht when you're not sitting in your fucking house in the Hamptons or booking tennis lessons from your penthouse overlooking Central Park.
How do you know all this?
I've been watching you. The problem with guys like you is you can't stop bragging. So when the rest of the world is suffering, you're making sure that every magazine in the country knows all about your triumphs.
Well, you know, there are people that derive inspiration from success stories. You know, maybe you'd do all the same things I've done if you had the opportunity.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sell bad loans to people with small amounts of money. You make yourself real cash-based and fabricated non-existent loans. You cook the books to get your bonuses. That's what you fucks do. But the question is, why should I let you live? You're a salesman, right? Sell me.
Sell you. You know, there's not a person on this earth that's worth over $100 million that came by that money honestly. Why don't you take a look at the old money, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies, the Gettys, the Morgans, the Hearsts, the Rockefellers. How do you think they got all that money? They just annexed territories and licenses and businesses and killed the native population and imported slaves and sold guns to both the North and the South during the Civil War and controlled the politicians. And they're heroes. They're American heroes.
Team 5 on 30. Civilians coming down. Proceeding to locate target.
We teach our children what? Honesty and hard work are the keys to success. And my children are not going to go off to some war. They're going to go to Yale. They're going to go to Harvard. And it's going to be the dumb, stupid, white trash kids and the black ghetto kids that are they're going to fight America's senseless wars. And they're going to protect American security and businesses. And it's going to be my business. My business is going to get richer and richer. And my bonuses are going to get bigger and bigger. And it's the same old story. It's the bankers and the owners and the advisors who get rich. And it's the little people who buy their stock that always lose in the end. To people like you.
Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all your sister Akim, pushing this word out across the four corners of the world. Just another news update through the spirit, the power, and the vibration of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And as you should know by now, that's been heavily talked about within mainstream news or media of this United Healthcare CEO by the name of Brian Thompson. He was gunned down on Wednesday morning outside the New York Hilton Midtown within Manhattan. And I'm still personally doing my research on that for more developing news. And I'm just paying attention more to these alternative news sites and checking to see if they have any more developing news regarding this matter. Because right now, who knows? Like, it's no telling if he was against a future agenda that's coming down the pipeline dealing with this NWO. Like, could have he been against it? Or that gunman could be just a regular person that was insured or had a family member insured with United Healthcare. And that particular family member, a friend of that gunman, or maybe himself, could have got denied on a healthcare claim. Like, all of this is just speculation. However, when I was reading up more about this situation dealing with this United Healthcare CEO, it made me think about a movie that I watched some years ago that's called Assault on Wall Street. It is formerly known as Bailout, The Age of Greed. which is a great movie that came out like in 2013. And it goes into like your everyday average middle class worker. And that main character, Jim, he was from New York. And he pretty much lost everything, like one after the other. His job, his house, his savings, his wife. And within that movie, his wife had cancer. And he was paying these high tax deductibles for her cancer treatments. And it pretty much came to the point that his savings account was dwindled. So therefore, he was trying to find other options for his wife to get the cancer treatments. And I want to say their health insurance denied them. And his wife shortly died within that movie. So it came to the point that he pretty much lost it. Like, he was still stoic. He was very calm. But at the same time, he was very driven to the extreme. And he resorted toward violence against these wealthy bankers, owners, financial advisors that's on Wall Street. And he had a vengeance toward these greedy and corrupted capitalists on Wall Street. And he started plucking them out one by one. So as you saw and heard on that final scene within that movie, Assault on Wall Street, that Edomite banker, he pretty much laid it out. How no one on this earth that's worth over $100 million came by that particular money honestly. And the scriptures goes into about dishonest gain. And he went into how men of his caliber were going to continue to increase within their riches, send their children off to Yale or Harvard for schooling. Meanwhile, the so-called black ghetto kids and these so-called white trash children going out to fight a senseless war to protect the interests of the bankers. Like, he brought out a lot of facts, how this world is truly ran by the man of sin, which is Esau Edom. And it's no wonder why this movie, Assault on Wall Street, really did not get that much hype within Hollywood, and it was pretty much slept on because a lot of truth came out within that movie. And it goes into further details how these westernized countries, mainly America, which is Babylon the Great according to the Holy Bible, is a capitalist corporation or country. And how they rob the poor, which is totally against the Holy Scriptures. And that takes me right to Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, which is referring to Esau Edom. And also in that movie, Assault on Wall Street, that banker brought out how the bankers terrorized the so-called Native Americans who are from the tribe of Gad, and they imported more slaves, referring to you so-called Negroes, to America, and how they pillage and rob our people. That's why it's stated within Isaiah 42 and 22, this is a people, referring to you Israelites, rob and spoil. Because you have another unrighteous dealing called predatory lending. And it's a fraudulent, deceptive, unethical practice of lending, targeting vulnerable demographics, more so minorities. And within this American society, you minorities are you Israelites. And that predatory lending, they also target towards immigrants or individuals with disabilities. And that fraudulent practice again is called predatory lending, which again is an unrighteous dealing. So because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people, referring to you Edomites, according to 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter, how Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it, to another. And that's referencing to Jacob. And Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So therefore, it's about to be a global transitional shift of rulerships very soon. So jumping back to this United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, people are pretty much celebrating his demise. Because a lot of people are coming to the conclusion how these various insurance companies are nothing but scams and frauds. How you worked all these years only for you to get denied when you actually need them for some services. Now, I actually have a relative that's in that situation. Like, due to her poor diet, she recently got both of her legs amputated. And mind you, she has been working all of her adult years. So therefore, she's been paying her healthcare insurance. So when it came to the process of her trying to get some prosthetic legs, they denied her claim because they stated that she was too old. So all of these years that you are working 40 plus 50 years and a great percentage of your income going towards these insurance companies only for you to get denied when you actually need them. So when Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua really put that spear upon these everyday Americans and they start coming to the conclusion how they really getting F out here, it's really going to turn up within this society, like straight mayhem and anarchy. And who are they going to be aiming towards? The rich. And that takes me right to James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men. And the ultimate rich man within this verse is really referring to Esau Edom. Because when you read Genesis, the 27th chapter, like the 39th verse, where their forefather Esau asked our forefather Isaac for the blessing, he was crying and begging. And our forefather Isaac blessed Esau with the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And also, he was going to rule by the sword. So therefore, that's his carnal blessing on the left-hand side. Again, referencing to that movie Assault on Wall Street on that final scene, when that banker mentioned all these wealthy elites from the Vanderbilts, the Gettys, the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, and the list goes on, and how they came to that money, it was all by dishonest gain. So therefore, they represent the host of the high ones, these banking elites who are the nobles within this current society, are the rich men. So go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that should come upon you. So it's going to be a divine judgment Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is going to bring upon the tabernacle of Esau Edom. He's going to aim at these elites of them first and foremost. Because the average day middle class Edomite American, they are totally suffering right now. In that movie again, Assault on Wall Street portrayed the average everyday American worker. Verse 2, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. And I brought an example of Esau's corrupted business. For example, predatory lending, which is a lending practice where the borrower is taken advantage of by the lender. Like these people that you target, these so-called minorities, are people that's on the low income spectrum. You will lend to them and knowing good damn well they're not going to be able to repay that loan back. So Esau, which represents the rich man, the predator, or the lender, and as it's stated within Proverbs 22:7, how the borrower, which represents the poor, and mainly that's referencing to Jake, you Israelites, is servant to the lender. And when you read Proverbs 22:22, it goes into about rob not the poor, because he is poor, and neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. And its many evil devices, Esau has done that for many, many years towards our people. These loan companies, this whole fiat currency banking system. So your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them should be a witness against you and should eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. So pursuant to biblical end-time prophecies, we are in those times that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is about to bring down the rich man. And again, that's referencing to the tabernacle of Esau Edom, who represents the host of the high ones. Let's get right quick. Isaiah 24:21. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high. And that high goes into that lofty, elevated position. And again, that's due to Esau's carnal blessing. How he was going to be blessed with the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And the keys of the earth upon the earth. So jumping back to James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. So nothing goes by Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua unchecked. And when you read Proverbs the 15th chapter and 3rd verse, it goes into how the eyes of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua are in every place. And that's referencing to the Lord's ministers, the angels. And what's one of their main responsibilities? They behold the evil and the good that goes on within this earthly realm. And they relay that message back onto Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. So again, nothing goes unchecked. Even you, Esau Edom, and your so-called shadow government. And that's how you became so powerful and mighty, first and foremost by the Heavenly Father Yahweh working through Isaac. And that's why the so-called Illuminati became so powerful due to their secrecy. One of your many titles was the Secret Society. And as the prophecy stated within Luke 8:17, how for nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, and neither anything hid that should not be known and come abroad. So everything's coming out to the light of all the evil deeds and devices that Esau Edom has been conjuring up since he been in rulership. And these really are just a handful of things that we know. Like it's no telling what he really has been doing behind closed doors. Because the scriptures goes into how Esau cannot sleep unless he has done some type of wickedness. And that's due to all of his unrighteous decrees and grievousness which he has prescribed. So more and more people are blaming, the so-called 1%, again, which represents the host of the high ones. So a lot of people are not feeling sorry by hearing this so-called news of this United Healthcare CEO getting gunned down within Manhattan. And this so-called tragedy is really likened unto a fantasy of the average day American, because a lot of these Americans are coming to the realization, like to be in these high elevated positions, you have to be sowing some type of wickedness, like cheating people out of their money, and much worse scenarios. Because your everyday middle class or average working Edomite, they're getting to the point that they're blaming the small hats of the poor financial predicament that they are currently in. Due to Esau's draconian laws, hence inflation, everything's going up within this American society. So these economic woes are pushing more of these everyday American workers' backs onto the walls. They're becoming more unhinged and more on edge. And who are their eyes going to be set upon for vengeance? These rich, wealthy men. And again, the ultimate rich, wealthy men are referring to the main workers of iniquity, which goes into these international banking elites. So when all hell breaks out within this American society, these banking elites are going to be hiding within their bunkers. So who are going to be the extension of these banking elites? These other rich banking elites that's not quite on the same caliber as these top international banking elites. Of course, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, and the list goes on. So therefore, they're going to be targeting after these CEOs, CFOs, these different owners, bankers, financial advisors on Wall Street, on down to your governors, your senators, your different mayors, your local city councilmen, and the list goes on. Because at the end of the day, these Americans are going to feel like they're being cheated by not making America great again. And these everyday average Americans are going to feel cheated, and they're going to have their vengeance fixated on these different rich people that's in these high positions. And that's all end time biblical prophecies. And that takes me right to 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And that woe means destruction. And when you read Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, it goes into about in the roll of a book, referring to the Holy Bible and what was written within that book. Lamentations, mourning, and woe, which represents sorrows, grief, devastation. So woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people should stand up and fight against another. And that goes into these different class wars. Because if you do not know, the so-called United States of America is definitely divided. So it's more so like a divided States of America. And pursuant to Mark, the 3rd chapter, our big brother Yahushua broke it down. If a kingdom or house be divided against itself, then that particular kingdom or house cannot stand. So therefore, you're going to see Isaiah, the 19th chapter, the 2nd verse, being totally played out, of the Egyptians against the Egyptians. which represents these modern Americans. So again, there goes your class wars. So one people should stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And here's the point, verse 16. For there should be sedition, which goes into insurrections or rebellions or revolts among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. And we can use, for example, Brian Thompson, this United Healthcare CEO. In the course of their actions should stand in their power. So movies like Assault on Wall Street or Rampage, which is another good movie, it pretty much represents the average, everyday, hardworking American has to go through of getting cheated and scandaled or frauded by these wealthy, greedy, corrupted capitalists. And they're going to be driven to these extreme measures, which is really the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua on them on the left-hand side, and to resort unto violence against these different rich or wealthy individuals that's operating within these monetary dishonest gains. So check that movie Assault on Wall Street out. Again, it came out like in 2013, and you can find the full movie on YouTube. So that's a must watch. So we're just going to keep watching through the spirit. So with that, hopefully you all was edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.
Some people don't recover. People like me.
That's the free trade system, my friend. That's capitalism. That's competition in a capitalist society. That's how the cream always rises to the top. That's how the strong survive and the weak die off.
Like her. That's my wife you're looking at. She's dead because of you.
Come on, man, for fuck's sake. I don't know you. I have never seen you before in my life.
But you do know about the real estate growth super fund, don't you?
That's where you put your money.
Your company sold it to me.
For the commissions. For the commissions. That's how it works.
You like competition?
I love competition.
You want to play a little free market competition? Just you and me?
You and me? I can't wait.
One weapon. Two guys. Winner lives. On the count of three. 1, 2.
Wow, looky here how I came out on top.
You cheated.
That's what you don't understand. That's not what's important. What's important is that I won. It doesn't matter how I won. When you're dead.
I cheated too.
Claire! Get him out of here!